So there are a lot of controversial topics in the world of mixed martial arts, but I think the most one of the most controversial ones is in terms of fighter pay. Because when it comes to fighter pay, everybody is on the extreme. There's some people who believe the UFC are nothing but scumbags. Dana White is literally stealing from the fighters. The fighters are being paid peanuts. A lot of them have to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. This is all horrible, awful, worst crime in humanity. And then there's some of the people who are just like, hey, mind your freaking business. It's completely up to the fighters. Hey, if the fighters want to be paid more, why don't they act like Conor McGregor and build their brand and sell pay-per-views and get to that level and maybe they'll make the big bucks. It's like there's no one that you can find right on the center that goes, you know what, man? In some aspects, yeah, the UFC should probably pay their fighters more. And also, fighters can do a few things to help themselves get to a point where they can make more money as well. And the fans, this is the aspect that seems to be forgotten, that the fans can also do more. Right? There's blame to go around. There's some blame on the UFC, some blame on the fighters, and also some blames to fans of mixed martial arts, right? It's kind of like when the topic of how women's basketball doesn't make as much as men's basketball, and all the feminists are losing their minds and complaining. And then you ask, hey, how many of you screeching feminists actually go to women's basketball games? How many of you go sit in those stands and go to those arenas and actually watch these women play? How many of you tune in when they're playing? How many of you search them out to directly support them? Crickets, no, you're watching Kardashians or whatever the hell else you guys like to watch. There's enough blame to go around, right? It's like, I look at it as we all could do more, right? We all could do more. The UFC could probably definitely pay fighters a bit more than they do right now, especially when you start looking at, the world champions of the world. But then, with the fighters, it's like, hey, you could also do more. There are a lot of fighters that are so generic. It's like, it's very forgettable, right? It's like you don't have anything unique about yourself. Your fight style is not unique. Your look is not unique. Your voice is not unique. You don't have an interesting story. For you, like, understanding that you as a fighter, you are the product. Your product, being you, has to be unique. It's got to be different from the other products on the roster. You got to make people care. And if people give a shit about you, well, then guess what? You become a star. And when you become a star, you start making more money. And then to fans of mixed martial arts, hey, how many of you guys are pirating content every single time, every single pay-per-view? Are you paying for pay-per-view? Do you? Or is it every single time there's a pay-per-view you're asking for streams? Hey, who's got a stream? Who's got a stream that I can watch? And then while you're watching the stream, you're also on Twitter complaining, fighter pay, fighter pay. It's like, where do you think the money comes from, right? It doesn't fall from the trees. It's got to come from somewhere, It's like, I want them to get pay-per-view points. I want the fighters to get pay-per-view points, but I've never paid for a pay-per-view. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, there is blame to go around, And I think everyone needs to start taking responsibility for their role in the reason why fighters are not being paid what they should be paid. But what's the point of this whole me talking about fighter pay? Well, I kind of want to talk about this whole Dana White thing. Because I'm going to be a little bit more nuanced with it, right? Dana White tells the world to mind your fucking business after $250K Nelk Boy birthday present. Now, this happened a while back. I saw it. I honestly just didn't really care too much. And then recently I just started thinking about it again. And I want to talk about it just for a little bit. First of all, didn't know who the hell Nelk Boys were. All I know is that I saw pictures of them. And I was thinking to myself, these guys look like a bunch of douchebags. I'm sorry. Like, they might be the greatest guys in the world, but I don't know why they all have that look. I don't know what's going on in today's society. You look on Instagram and like all the Instagram models have that Kim Kardashian look, and then you look on YouTube and all these popular YouTubers or whatever that are in teams. They all look like they came right out of Jersey Shore with their greasy looking faces and the hair. They all just look the same. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like everyone's becoming a clone of everyone. It's ridiculous. So I find out these guys are a bunch of wealthy YouTubers, and I'm like, okay, Dana White gave them $250,000. Who gives a shit, right? Now, what's making people pissed, of course, is, there's some fighters, we know this, it's a fact, there's some fighters who have to get second jobs because the UFC, they're not making enough in the UFC to actually make that like their full-time living. And so to people's minds, they're like, yo, why do you have fighters fighting for you that have to work second jobs just to make ends meet, and you're literally just giving someone who's already rich $250,000. Like, what is going on? Well, according to Dana White, you should mind your business. Let's go right ahead and watch the video where Dana answers this question. This was in the Matt McAfee show. They asked Dana White about this. Let's listen to what Dana had to say.
For you hear from a guy from Boston. Boston Connor, your question for Dana.
Yeah, Dana, are you worried now that your gift of $250,000 got out to the Nelk Boys that's kind of like your floor when it comes to birthday gifts?
Hey, my
now
birthday
for
was in
everybody?
May, dude. My birthday was in May 2nd. May 2nd.
You know what? I'm glad you asked me that question. Let me set this record straight.
Oh,
First of all these people on the internet, go fuck yourself. Okay? However the fuck I want to spend my money. Mind your own fucking business, number one. Number two, if you look at what Kyle and the Nelk Boys have done as far as Howlerhead and a lot of other things that they've done, those kids have never asked me for anything, ever. Never asked me for anything. And they couldn't be better people. Kyle has done so many things for me. And believe me, the $250,000 that I gave him for his birthday does not cover the amount of things that kid has done for me.
that's awesome.
So don't count other people's money and mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, somehow you became an asshole when really it was one of the nicest friends gifts I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, somehow this piece of shit just...
It's not about that, though. Like, people are not mad at, let's be honest, people are not mad at Dana White because he gave someone a gift. Like, that's not presenting the context properly. Like, people are not like, oh, Dana White is a dickhead because he gave one of his friends money. That's not what people are mad about. People are mad about the fact that Dana White, who has had regardless of why he did it, it's just a bad look because you're still under controversy about the fact that you're not paying your fighters, and then you just give somebody $250K, whether it's your personal money or UFC, it doesn't matter. People, fans, everyone's just gonna look at it like, yo, why didn't you just give that to a fighter, right? Why didn't you divide it up and give it to a bunch of fighters? Why don't you do that for your fighters? Why give it to this freaking Nelk Boy guy who was already a millionaire and already is making all this money? You know what I mean? It almost seems like an illogical thing to do. But let's keep watching.
Gifted a friend of his $250,000. It's like, well, I think that's... Isn't that a nice gesture?
Yeah. What they act like, what these... And a lot of this is driven by the scumbag MMA media. So what happens is they act like there's this massive safe here at the UFC offices that says fighter pay on it. And I go in there and I just grab whatever I want out of the fighter pay. No, you fucking pieces of shit. This is money that I actually have made over an entire career, and I will spend it however the fuck I want.
Hey! Hell yeah! Yeah! Hey, that felt good to get that off your chest there.
I'm so glad you asked me that question.
Had a baby, Connor.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. In that aspect, he's correct. You know, when you've made your money, when you've worked hard to make your money, and nobody can sit there and say that Dana White doesn't work hard. You would be wrong. You would be dead wrong to try to say that Dana does not work hard. He clearly works hard. He's made his money, however the hell he made it. And when you make your money, let's just be honest, you wouldn't want anybody telling you how to make your money. It's like none of us want that shit. So I understand him in that aspect when he says, "Yo, I spend my money however the hell I want. If I want." Remember the scene? If you guys have watched Ozark, there was a scene where Marty was going to go. He was going to withdraw all of the money in his account because they had to go down to the Ozark to start working for the cartel or whatever. And the banks were all like, "Yo, like, we can't let you withdraw all that money." And Marty was like, "Yo, it's my freaking money. If I want to literally take all of this money, throw it in the freaking pool and burn it or whatever, it's my money. I should be able to do." And you know what? That's true, right? People are going to look at you like a piece of complete garbage because there's a bunch of other things you could have done with that money. You could have helped people in the world. You know how it is. When you become a millionaire or when you make a lot of money, people start assigning everybody else's responsibility onto you. Like, hey, you're a millionaire now. It's now your responsibility to help the world. That's just how it is. But at the end of the day, it is his money. If he wants to freaking use all of it as toilet paper to wipe his ass after he takes a shit, he should be able to do that. That said, when you put that out there publicly, I don't know if he recorded the video or whatever, when a video of you giving people or giving someone $250,000 when you have fighters who are not able to make ends meet. When a video like that shows up to the public, guess what, Dana? It becomes the public's business. You can't tell people to mind their business. Like, it's out there in the public. Of course, people are going to have something to say about that. It becomes their business. And then, it's like the scumbag MMA media, whatever he's saying. He's not the only one that has an issue with the media, Just recently, Derek Lewis said that if he were to win $1 billion, he would buy the UFC and lose his mind on the media. So there's definitely some issues with MMA fighters and the media. Some of these media and these journalists, they don't represent the fighters properly the way they should. But you can't blame them for reporting what happened. It's like, it did happen, right? Like, you gave this money to the Nelk boys, knowing how it's going to look, and then it was put out there in public. So, like, you can't blame people for having an issue with it. So I think the whole entire thing, like, everyone should just take a step back, look at the whole situation, ask yourself, like, where am I contributing to this, to this issue of fighter pay? What could I personally be doing better to help with fighter pay? I think us as fans, if you can afford it, I think, maybe purchase more pay-per-views. The UFC could lower the price of pay-per-views. They could do that to make it more affordable so people can purchase more of it, right? They can pay their fighters more. Maybe Dana White can take a pay cut. Maybe he could do, I don't know. Who knows? All I know is on every single side, we could all do better. And that's the whole entire point I'm trying to make in this video. Like, you can't just sit back and blame one person or blame one side. Of course, the fighters, y'all could do better. You could try to put on more entertaining fights. You could train harder to try to gain more skill, try to be more fan-friendly, spend more time learning how to speak, how to dress, how to address the media, how to make yourself more marketable. There are a bunch of different things that everyone on each side can do to try to elevate, because for this product, which is this fighting, for it to get to the highest level, it's going to take everyone. It's going to take the fans. It will take the promoter. It will take the fighters. It's going to take everyone coming together to make this thing happen. That's my opinion. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this whole controversy. This is the very first time that I think we're going to discuss fighter pay on this channel, and I'm very curious to see what you guys think about it. Do you agree with me that it's everyone's responsibility, or do you think that it's solely the UFC's responsibility? Let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out. Have a good one.